Hello, good afternoon. This is the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 in Accra, Love 99.5 in Kumasi. Affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Jubilee Radio Keta, Sun City Radio Keta, Saboba FM Saboba, and A1 Radio Bolgatanga. We are live on Twitter Spaces, Facebook live stream, and my Joy Online interactive app. The Midday News is sponsored by Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplast goes, water flows. Coming up, some close family members of resigned Water and Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapar roped in by the Office of the Special Prosecutor to answer for their involvement in the stolen money saga. We have details plus the latest on the OSP's investigations as the governor of the Bank of Ghana describes as worrying the hoarding of foreign currency in homes.
Yes, we are all worried, but really, this is a matter that is still unfolding.
We'll also tell you about the Attorney General's involvement in the matter and head's role in Adisado College after violent incident involving students goes viral. We have more as the GES sets up own investigation into the matter, meeting school heads and parents.
Seeing this video, the region taking over to do the investigations, and we're expecting them to report, definitely we will know the punishment or the sanctions to give.
We'll get live updates from the school, plus hear from educationist Professor Stephen Adair. Also in this package, NPP to sanction failed presidential and parliamentary aspirants who attempt to go independent after Congress.
The sanctions, it is inside the room. If you go against it, we will take you on because this is an agreement you have signed to us, and the party will take the next decision.
Meanwhile, the party extends a handshake to the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament as it omits Fomena from the orphan constituencies open for contest. And in sports,
Midday Sporting Club will face a Nigerian side in the first preliminary round of the CAF Champions League.
And later this afternoon, which property qualifies to be shared in a divorce?
Any property you acquire before marriage does not form part of spousal property. If you are able to prove and establish to the court that these properties were acquired before the marriage was contracted, the court will shift that property aside.
We've got details of these and more here on the Midday News. Thanks for choosing us. Joy News, independent, fearless and credible. I'm Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. It's a pleasure to have you here. The details now. Some close associates of the former Water and Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapar are before interrogators at the Office of the Special Prosecutor to respond to the controversy surrounding the stolen money. Madame Dapar is currently on bail with surety after spending hours in the OSP's custody. He had earlier conducted searches at her official residence in Cantonment and her private residence at Abilimpi. The searches were related to the alleged $1 million cash theft by housekeepers, which led to her resignation on Saturday. My colleague Elton Brobe joins me in studio with more on this developing story. First, Elton, do we know which of her close family members have been invited by the OSP?
Well, Ben, the OSP is tight-lipped on the matter, but we do know that some family friends and some close associates of the former minister have been invited to assist in the ongoing investigations. This is because from what we learned yesterday, the minister made mention to the effect that the money, some of it belonged to some family members and, of course, some associates as well. So because of that, the OSP is extending this investigation to cover these people to establish whether or not, indeed, they are the owners of the money in question. It is also unclear whether the husband of Madam Cecilia Dapar is one of those who have been invited to assist in ongoing investigation. Yesterday, we were told that he was not a person of interest, but the OSP did not rule out that they may at some point invite him.
We understand, Elton, that she's currently on bail with surety. What are the details of the bail bond?
So she's on bail with surety. Secondly, she's also been asked to fill an income and property declaration form so that the OSP can track the property she acquired and whether or not they were getting through illegal means.
Right. And finally, there was a search at her official residence and her private residence. What did the OSP uncover?
Again, they are tight-lipped, but what we are learning is that they uncovered what they want to describe as something significant. What they describe as significant is unclear for now. But according to sources and what we are learning, they uncovered something they call very significant.
Elton Brobe, editor here at Joy News. Now, host of the Super Morning Show, Kojo Yangsudong, joins me because we are learning the Attorney General has taken an interest in the matter. Kojo, what are you learning from the AG's office?
Well, Bernice, what we understand so far is that the docket for the original case of robbery and handling of stolen goods, which was brought against 5 people, Patience Boche, Sarah Ajay, Benjamin Sowa, Kweku Boche, and Malik Dauda, has been brought to the Attorney General's office for advice. Typically, what would happen at this point is that the Attorney General's office would go through the details of the police investigation and give advice to them on how to proceed with prosecution or whether or not to proceed with prosecution. Now, what we are picking up from our sources is that the Attorney General is writing back to the police to inform them that they need to expand their investigation to look into the source of the stolen money.
Very bad.
Money. So this is going to be the next step of the CID's investigation. They are going to be advised by, according to our sources, by the Attorney General to now look into the original source of the money that was stolen and handled, allegedly, by the 5 people named in the original charge sheet.
Right, Kojo Yangsudong, the host of the Super Morning Show, giving us details from the AG's office. We understand the Attorney General has taken an interest in this matter involving the former Water and Sanitation Minister. Apologies for the interruption there. But let's explore some more with private legal practitioner Kweku Pencil. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Looking at all that has happened since the OSP took interest in the matter, what would your initial assessment be of the actions he's taking so far?
Yeah, I'm thinking that so far, based on what has been reported in the media, beginning from yesterday, about the steps or purported steps that the OSP has taken or is taking, I would say that it is fair for him to do what he's doing. I think that's what the rules of practice will require that he does. My real concern has to do with the timing of this whole matter. Because, see, if you look at the facts of the case as it's being presented to us as Ghanaians, my appreciation is that this event, as I understand, transpired commencing from July of last year. In other words, that's when the theft took place. So that between July and October, there were these activities. And I would be very worried. And I would be very surprised that if we have security agency, we've got a security minister, we've got the National Investigation Bureau, we've got the Ghana Police Service, who understand were the people who took the initial decision to come into this matter. Now, if a report was made to them that a minister had as much as that kind of money in her residence, in respect of which a complaint was made to the police, our rules of engagement in this country for public office is spelled out by several laws, including the requirement for them to fill asset declaration forms and so forth and so on. And the fact that if you find money with a public officer, that suggests and shows that it is beyond what the officer must be holding or having, it raises a presumption that that money must be tainted with something. Of course, we are talking of corruption.
Right, lawyer. So, the fact of the matter is that now Madame Dapa has been asked to file an income and property declaration form. You would have wished that it had been done earlier, seeing how far the case has progressed. But she's now being asked to do it. How do you see this playing out as well?
No, it's a window dressing. Please, let's put it this way. The law itself that requires that they file these things makes it mandatory that before you resign, you fill it. Before you resign. And please, if after 1 year, which I'm sorry, but I have to put it this way, they are doing it now, but why now? That's the question. In other words, is the whole thing being state managed? Is the whole thing being done in such a way that we will know that these steps are being taken when we knew, or we ought to know that these steps have been taken more than 1 year ago? My worry is how come that the security agency, the rule of practice for the policeman is that when a policeman has suspicion, reasonable suspicion that somebody has committed a crime or is about to commit a crime, the investigation starts from that day. That is when the investigation is supposed to start. I don't want to believe that our police does not know this basic rule of practice in accordance with the law, Act 29, Act 30, that is what they are supposed to do. So if we wait 1 year and the whole country now gets to know that the things that shall be done when these reports or the hints were given, you are now doing it, it raises an issue for citizens like me to begin to question motives. I'm not assuming that somebody is even now in the wrong, but it gives us a reason to be very worried and very concerned about how things can happen and nobody knows until when it gets into the press, then there'll be hive of activities to give the impression that we are doing what we are supposed to do, when we know that what we are supposed to do did not commence from only last week when Chronicle published the story. That is my concern about what is going on.
Right, Lawyer Pinto. So, I mean, just to establish and create some clarity, this income form is for lifestyle, and it was given by the OSP. It's different from the asset declaration form, just to establish the difference. And according to the OSP, you only got to know about this matter from a newspaper publication. And so I understand your concerns in that the police should have informed the OSP of this matter. But we are grateful to you for your time this afternoon. That's Lawyer Kweku Pinto. He's a private legal practitioner. In a related development, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has described as worrying the hoarding of foreign currencies by individuals at home. He was speaking at the bank's monetary policy meeting yesterday.
Yes, we are all worried, but really, I mean, this is a matter that is still unfolding and involving the court, so there's not much that one can say. Based upon the intelligence that we had, a lot of people were arrested, so over 400 people, in rooms, doing online lending without license. These guys are not licensed to be engaging in those kinds of activities. So they were arrested, they have been processed to court, and I think that we will continue to remain vigilant to ensure that these kinds of illegal operations do not persist.
That's Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison. He was speaking at the bank's monetary policy meeting yesterday. Away from this story, at Keiko, or the Keiko housemaster at a Disado school, is the latest to lose his job after a violent video in which a student of the school is seen assaulting another. And this went viral. The disturbing video shows a student holding another, choking him, and slamming his head into the frame of the bed. Now, this caused an immediate swell on the student's right cheek, and there was blood oozing out. Now, since that video went viral, the perpetrator, we are told, has been suspended, and the victim would also face a disciplinary committee for failing to report the incident to school authorities. The housemaster, whose identity is yet to be disclosed, has lost his job. My colleague Mamiesi Nyamicha Thompson has a copy of the statement from the school. What are the details, Mamiesi?
So, Bernice, the letter from the school signed by the headmaster Samuel Kofi Agudogo is a rather simple, straight to the point letter which reads, "I regret to inform you that you have been relieved from your position as Kweku headmaster with immediate effect. You may be reinstated as a housemaster based on the outcome of the investigation. You did not deliver as expected of you as headmaster as far as the video is concerned. Thank you." And this letter has been copied to the Metro Director, Ghana Education Service, Cape Coast, the board chair at Isadel College, Cape Coast, and the president of the Global Executive Committee, Accra. And so those are the details of the letter from the school, Bernice. Bernice.
Thank you, Mami Sinyamitha Thompson. Meanwhile, the Ghana Education Service has condemned the act. It's also set up an independent investigation into the matter. Head of Public Relations Unit, Cassandra Truman-Poffo, says the GES will meet with the headmaster of the school and parents of the students to get to the bottom of the matter.
We've asked the regional director to investigate this matter. We just don't want to go ahead of what they are doing. But generally, when bullying, assault, violence of that sort, depending on the magnitude, there's dismissal, there's demonization, there's suspension, and all of that. So it depends on the level. And so seeing this video, the region taking over to do the investigations, and we're expecting them to report, definitely we will know the extent. I mean, the school and everything will be on board, and so we will know sanctions to give. What I can say currently is that, and what I want to put on record is that this is barbaric, this is evil. We do not like what has happened at all. And so definitely, like my statement indicated, we are not taking it lightly at all.
Cassandra Truman-Poffo is head of the Public Relations Unit at the Ghana Education Service. Our reporter, Semefa Pesu, is currently at Adisado College. She's been gathering some details for us and joins us via the phone. What is the latest, Semefa, with regards to this meeting between GES and the parents of the students?
Right, so in the morning when I got here, everything was calm. Academic work is ongoing. The headmaster, together with the students involved in this case and their parents, just left. They left a few minutes ago to Accra, as confirmed by the regional minister, to meet the authorities of the GES. But I spoke with the regional PRO of GES earlier, who said the headmaster has been instructed to write a situational report to the office of the GES in Central Region here. They are yet to receive that report from him, but the committee that was instructed to actually establish the root cause of the situation and come up with their findings has submitted their reports to the office. And she said the findings has not been disclosed because they're waiting for the situational report from the headmaster. But the recommendation is that the victim has been suspended for not reporting the situation to the school management when it happened. And he will be in the house and will be escorted by the parents to come and write their end of term exams because he is a first year student. But the suspect or the person who meted out the whole thing is a final year student and will be in the house. He's also suspended. He's been suspended. Will be in the house and go and write the exams at the WAEC office in Accra. And then the person who took the video has also been suspended, but they've not disclosed the sanctions meted out to him. So we are yet to speak to authorities of the school. Earlier when we came, they refused to speak on the issue. So that is the situation at hand.
Thanks. That's Semefa Besu. She is currently at Adisado College for us, giving us details on what exactly has been happening. And there have been a lot of reactions since the video went viral. The president of the Psychiatric Association of Ghana, Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entry, has some tips for parents and guardians on how to detect if their child or ward is a victim of bullying. She spoke to me earlier on the AM show.
Talk to them when you go to visit them during these visiting Sundays. Don't just be interested in the food you send to them and all that, but quiz them about how things are going and let them know that you can trust them. Some of these children are afraid that if I tell my mother or I tell my father, they are going to report it. They are going to report this senior, and the bullying will now even be worse. They are afraid of the repercussions of reporting. But if the school authorities will set a scapegoat of punishing a senior who has bullied a junior, it will be more easy for the younger ones to report bullying. And eventually, we will be able to stop that culture.
She further adds that a decline in the academic standards of your ward is a sign that they may be bullied in school. Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entry is president of the Psychiatric Association of Ghana. You're listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. And the governing New Patriotic Party has given a strong signal that it will sanction any failed presidential and parliamentary aspirant who attempts to go independent after its Congress. According to the party, all aspirants have signed an undertaking committing to support the eventual winner in the presidential and parliamentary primaries. Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed, therefore says the party reserves the right to restrain any person who would decide otherwise and apply the appropriate sanctions.
These rules are designed before we open nominations. These are part of the nomination form. So at the time of designing these rules, it is designed by the party. There was no contestant. There was no aspirant. So there was no way for us to consult a non-existent aspirant. But this is a rule that the party has set. And if you know that when you lose, you contest as independent, you don't pick the form or you don't return the form. You get it? This is a clear guideline that tells you when you pick it and you know you can abide by that rule, then you return the form.
Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Samuel Mbura is my colleague here. He's a member of the political desk. He's joined me with details of other guidelines for the aspirants. Now, Samuel, just quickly run us through what the other guidelines are. And specifically, though, let's talk about what the party has to say about the controversial Femina seat.
Well, the Deputy General Secretary of NPP, Haruna Mohammed, explained to me that since the MP does business with the party in Parliament, his seat has been considered as one that the party has a sitting MP.
Everybody knows it's a public knowledge. Femina is doing business with us, so it has a different way of being treated, just like the sitting members of Parliament.
Meaning no member in that constituency would take a nomination form to contest. Is that the case?
Such a decision hasn't been taken. When we are taking decisions for sitting members of Parliament, that will be communicated.
So at the moment, you consider Femina as a sitting MP belonging to the NPP, though the records are that he is an independent candidate.
He is doing business with us in Parliament, and I said he votes with us, he takes decision with us.
That's Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, speaking to my colleague Samuel Mbura. They're still on the NPP. Former General Secretary of the party, Kwabena Japong, says the NPP stands a better chance at winning the 2024 polls if it presents a fresh face. He will be on the ballot with 9 others, but he believes he stands tall and has worked hard to end the enviable slot of flag bearer of the governing party. Joseph Akable of our political desk reports.
Kwabena J. Japon is not new to the MPP flag bearer race. He was part of 17 aspirants who sought to lead the party into the 2008 polls.
We, the MPP, are the tradition that believes in creating a world of plenty.
His membership of the party goes as far back as its early days when he played an active role in the campaign of presidential candidates Albert Edubuahi and John Agyekum Kufuor in 1992 and 1996.
I'm not a newcomer. I did not join our great tradition midstream after the danger abated.
When the party won power in 2000, he became President John Agyekum Kufuor's press secretary. This journey has not always been smooth. Despite successfully winning the party's general secretary position in 2014, he was later suspended. This suspension has since been set aside and is back seeking to lead again. He believes the MPP needs a new face.
A pair of clean hands, a leader to reconnect with our base and earn the trust of Ghanaians.
Mr. Japon is promising a lean and all-inclusive government if given the nod.
Cut down the government pecs. In Ghana right now, it appears people enjoy government pecs more than the work that they are supposed to do.
The 61-year-old engineer and former sports broadcaster will be back on the ballot on August 26 when the Super Delegates Conference takes place.
May God help us all, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much for your attention.
Joseph Akable of our political desk with that report. This is the Midday News. Just gone by, some close family members of resigned Water and Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa roped in by the Office of the Special Prosecutor to answer for their involvement in the stolen money saga. And still to come, which property qualifies to be shared in a divorce?
Any property you acquire before marriage does not form part of spousal property. If you are able to prove and establish to the court that these properties were acquired before the marriage was contracted, the court will shift that property aside.
Thank you for staying here on the Midday News. It's now time for sports, and Haruna Mubarak is here.
Yeah, Bernice, Midday Sporting Club have been drawn against Nigerian side Remo Stars in the first preliminary round of the CAF Champions League. The Ghana champions will host Remo Stars on the weekend of August 18 at the Cape Coast Stadium before traveling to Nigeria for the second leg, which comes off 7 days later. The winner of the tie will take on Guinean side Horoya in the second preliminary round. Quickly in the CAF Confederation Cup, Dreams FC, who will make their debut, take on Milo FC, the Kankan of Guinea, in the first preliminary round of the competition. Back to you, Bernice.
Thank you so much. Now, Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagbin says the majority in Parliament is yet to submit names of its members to form an ad hoc committee to probe the leaked tape, which allegedly reveals a plot to remove the IGP, Dr. George Akuffo Dampare. The tape also revealed a conspiracy to rig the 2024 elections. Speaking on the floor, the Speaker announced that he had only received the list from the minority.
I have 3 names from the minority caucus. I'm yet to receive the 3 names from the majority caucus. I want to do that today so that the committee can immediately commence proceedings, because the matter there is of serious security concern, not to mention the democratic perspective, but at least the security of the nation is very important to all of us. Whether it is a fluke or whatever it is, we have to get to the bottom of the matter.
Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagbin, the Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante, joins us with details. What more can you report on this incident, this particular situation? I beg your pardon, Kweku.
Bernice, I can confirm that the list is now complete. The 7-member committee that the Speaker of Parliament is putting together. Let me start from the majority side. The committee will be chaired by Honorable Samuel Atachem for Buakos House. The deputy chairman is James Agalga. The other members are Peter Lanchini Tobu and Ophelia Mensah. These persons are all both former policemen and women. We also have Eric Opoku and Patrick Boama supporting. The Speaker of Parliament said that he wanted one independent person to join. We have one Dr. Anand, who is a lawyer in Parliament, joining this 6 MPs to form the 7-member committee to probe this matter. He has given them up to 10 September to bring their report to the House.
Kweku Asante, our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent there. Now to the Ashanti region, inhabitants of the Gomba line in the Asokore Mampo municipality have accused the police in Kumasi of extortion under the guise of regular swoops. They claim the officers charge as much as 500 cedis per each suspect arrested in such swoops. This has already led to the loss of 2 lives in the past years. Residents are agitated over the arrest of innocent people in these police operations. Nanaya Ojima has been interacting with some of these victims.
The Gomba line is probably the biggest slum in the Ashanti region, with dwellers scattered along a part of Kumasi's main rail line. It is hub of scrap dealers. Like other slums in the country, there are suspected criminals and drug peddlers taking shelter here. The police often undertake swoops when they pick information on suspects, but some residents are agitated by the violent and arbitrary conduct of swoops. Ali is a scrap dealer who has lived in the slum for decades. 3 weeks ago, he was arrested in a swoop, but he claims to be innocent of engaging in drugs.
I was on a bench in front of my shop with my girlfriend. I saw people run to my direction but continued to sit. One of them arrested me and started searching me for drugs, but they did not find any on me. One of the officers told them to arrest me, though they did not find anything on me.
And that was a report by Nanaya Ojima. And in today's episode of our sister station Joy Prime's divorce series, lawyer Senna Hoto explains which property qualifies to be shared as spousal property in the case of a divorce. Listen.
If we'll delve into the very first aspect, which is properties acquired before marriage, the law is that any property you acquire before marriage does not form part of spousal property. So that when you're in court for divorce proceedings as the man or the woman, the properties that you brought into the marriage, the court will not touch them in the splitting process.
Let's say a house or a car.
Yes. So you meet a lady, you have 4 houses. You meet and then you come in, with your G-Wagons and then your cars and, your business doing very well, and then you get married and you acquire some properties as well when you were married together. Now, at the point where there is that split, there's that split going to be done in court. The factors that the court will take into consideration, they'll ask themselves that at what point was these properties, property A, B, C, D, acquired? And
you heard there Senna Hoto. He was speaking in today's episode of our sister station Joy Prime's Divorce series. And that's how we end this edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Is sponsored by Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplast goes, water flows. Our top story: some close family members of resigned Water and Sanitation Minister roped in by the Office of the Special Prosecutor to answer for their involvement in the stolen money saga. Also, Governor of the Bank of Ghana describes as worrying the hoarding of foreign currency in homes. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com, including modern slavery gangmasters exploit care worker shortage. I'm Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. Thanks for your company. Do stay. Up next is Living Word with Pastor Mensa Utabo.